Rachel Maddow. Bastion of the left. Lest you think I'm partisan. I am not partisan. I don't trust a single one of them. I just don't. I trust God, and I pray to God for godly leadership. But I don't trust any of these people as men or women. Roddy Jah. This is a rapper. He's a Freemason, I think. I mean, he's got the square and compass over his right eye. Wonder what kind of demonic marker that operates as. What do you think? Think that's like putting a landing strip on your body? Could be. Or maybe we're just imagining it all again. Raphael Decimon. Not sure who that is, but he's throwing it up. Not sure who these people are. He kind of gives me some kind of politician vibe, but I'm not sure. But again, guys, it's literally, it's just global. It's just everywhere. Your entire culture, this eyes wide shut business, they're walking all around you. I'm not trying to make you paranoid. I'm really not. But there's a lot of people in the club keeping it all hush hush, practicing the Harpocrates. Most of them they want to have an orgasm, and they're hoping that this year they're not going to be the sacrifice. It's kind of like the lottery, you know. Hopefully this time I get to go to the orgy and I'll be good. And supposedly too, if you remember from Eyes Wide Shut, like the girl that did get sacrificed, this prostitute that Tom Cruise had been with previously, offered herself willingly. And then it comes up in the newspaper the next day that she was dead. And that's what starts Tom Cruise being all freaked out. All right, Randy Jackson. All right, we're in the R's, ladies and gentlemen. Randy Jackson, American Idol. American music producer. Duh. Randy Newman. Most of your younger generations won't know who Randy is, but he's sort of, he would be considered more sophisticated and intellectual to the older generation's musical tastes. No doubt, no way would he have anything to do with any of this occult nonsense. Really, who do you think might be playing the piano? What do you think evil looks like? Ladies and gentlemen. Just saying. I'm not saying he does or doesn't play the piano at these kinds of parties. I'm just speaking in combination with photographs that happen to be on the screen. Rebecca Ferguson, throwing up a little one-eyed symbolism for you there. Oh yes, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm glad we're here now. Boy, doesn't he look like Will Ferrell? He does in that photo. So thank you, number one, Anthony, for flicking us off with both fingers. Here is that John Frusciante? Is that how I pronounce it? He's just doing little devil horns for you. A kind of a different variation of it too. There's a little Baphomet reference as well there, because look at Baphomet's right hand when he goes into the as above, so below pose. It's basically that formation. And then, of course, you have Flea. Flea, who suffers from a degenerative tongue disease, where his tongue basically just flaps out of his mouth many hours of the day. Throwing up a 666 over his eyeball. And as someone in the room asked earlier, I can't throw up the AOK sign? Go ahead, go do that. I'll be calling you out in a video like this. You know, go ahead, start throwing it up all the time. You know, Flea, of course. In fact, let's go. Just while we're here, I don't want to have to just narrate everything. Let's make it nice and...
It'll be hard for me and you to talk about theory since neither of us know a damn thing about it.
Right, which is why it's good that I should be interviewing you on this occasion.
Yeah, but see, we know about a lot more other cosmic things that are floating around in the universe and in this very room today, things that are circling around, that hopefully we'll be able to be vehicles for these things and let them come pouring through our nostrils. In this very room today, things that are circling around, that hopefully we'll be able to be vehicles for these things and let them come pouring through our nostrils.
I'm sure he's talking about God's angels. Doesn't Flea? He looks like such a friendly man, doesn't he? I wonder what kind of beings those are that have been floating around that he wants to come flowing through his nostrils. I don't know. It's hard to know. Oh, Anthony. I'm telling you, man. Don't ignore the tongue as one of the symbols. You got Flea throwing up the one eye. You got John over here throwing up the one eye. And then you got Anthony, who must be the most sexual of them all. Madonna got a little red string Kabbalah action going on there. And if you remember, she has her... Listen, this series is going to be as undeniable as it possibly can be. So we all know that she practices it, and let us never forget the photo of her with her son, making it look like he's going down on a woman while throwing up the devil horns with their little red string on. But make no mistake about it, it's actually a very spiritual practice. It's a very godly practice. Red Velvet, throwing up a 666 over her eyeball. It's telling too. How does a video like this? I'm not mad at you out there. I know that you have to have the demonic army and shills that come out, but it's already got like 2 dislikes on this video, and never before has so much truth been packed into one thing. And it's just the haters and the forces of darkness. Doesn't matter. There is no truth in them. You know, no truth whatsoever. And so they stand upon lie, and that's why they throw up their Harpocrates and snitches. Don't snitch. Don't be a good person. Don't have a heart. Be a psychopath. This is Red Velvet again. So let me ask you again here in this particular instance. Let's look at her eyes. And I'm not leading you one direction or the other. I'm just asking you, does she look dissociated to you or not? It's up to you to decide. Red Fox, Sanford and Son. What, you thought it was just, this is all just new, just happened? From the very beginning. Why do you think they named it Hollywood? We've been over this. You already know, hopefully, what that is. Hollywood is the kind of wood that is preferred to make a witch's wand with. The Druids especially did it. If you watch Harry Potter, that's the kind of wood that Harry Potter wants his wand made out of. It's the best. Reese Witherspoon. And there you go. She's got a lot of 6-pointed stars this time. She's got one around her necklace as well. She's got the 6-pointed necklace and the veil. There's Reese Witherspoon again, who, of course, at one point, I mean, I had a crush on Reese, you know, as a young man. There she is again. This is someone named Regan Cameron, Regan Cameron. So there you go. Renee Olstead, Olstead. Vow of silence, Harpocrates. Keep it hush, hush. Rhett and Link. Now again, to the sleeping masses, they think, this doesn't mean nothing. But look at the intentionality there as well. Rhett and Link, they're a popular YouTube channel that I used to watch in the morning before I'd go to work several years back. Because they were kind of fun and all that, but really just mindless meaninglessness, which is the name of the game with the devil. Is to just keep you kind of mindless and not really thinking about too much. Just kind of keep things surface level. Rhiannon, the witch, the pagan goddess, who Stevie Nicks did a song about. Oh, Rhiannon. And then we got Rihanna. She's got her little crescent moon, devil horn action going on there. Richard Avedon, Avedon. Who is he? Is he a producer? I think he's some kind of producer. Let's see here. Or maybe he's a photographer. I think he's a photographer. Yeah, Richard was an American fashion and portrait photographer. Boy, he photographed Maryland too, huh? Eyes are the windows to the soul. Probably, well, let me ask you, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to try to learn how to talk in these videos in a different way. I wonder, reminds me of Terry Richardson. Could be, maybe, I'm not necessarily saying he did certain things, but I am saying, Terry Richardson, let's put it this way, has been in a long line of portrait fashion photographers. Let's just leave it like that. Richard Dawkins, who somebody came in the comments the other day to point out to me that he's been fascinated with cannibalism of late. And I at first I thought the comment, I guess I should never be surprised anymore. But then I went looking into it, and sure enough, he's been talking quite a bit about interest in maybe being able to eat human meat. Richard Gere, who I never talked to him or knew him, but he was a Vajrayana Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhist, member of the club. Richard Ramirez, who everybody wants to say was a solo Satanist, but had apparently had a private meeting with Anton LaVey before the murders. But don't worry about that, folks. It's all a satanic moral panic. None of it ever happened again. There's no conspiracy. There's no nothing. Go back to sleep. Your world is just as it is. Have some Taco Bell this afternoon. Watch a good movie. And don't think too much. Don't think too much. Rick Genest, Genest, Genest. I don't know who that is, but Ricky Gervais, or Gervais, I can't remember. He's a comedian. He's just, because the two connect right there. Like the person who was in chat earlier. Like, what, I can't do the A-OK? Well, sure I can, but for some reason there's just sort of a disconnect between the A-OK facial expression and the hand expression here. Kind of, I don't know. kind of sensing a little darkness there. A little cunning. Perhaps even a little bit of duper's delight. Ricky Martin? Oh, yeah. Ricky ain't really about the Baphomet. Like, he's about, like, the Dionysian fun that occurs at the mansions. You know, keep your mouth shut. Shh. Don't talk. Harpocrates. Make your own videos, guys. It's super simple. Get an external hard drive, a nice good one with a lot of good space, and just start doing your research. Spend a couple weeks before you make your first video just downloading the images, and then and keep them. Then you always got them, and then just keep adding to them whenever you find the new ones. And next thing you know, you yourself are going to learn in the process. Just how big this thing is. And then when people come to you and ask, you'll be able to say, no, it's really not up for debate about, oh, is it really all of them? Come on, it's just a joke that they're all doing. That only comes from the result of there has been a lack of real research in this area for way too long. We keep talking about, we keep exposing this person and that person. Nobody's been doing really good work, from my perspective anyway, at collecting and compiling all of them. Like I said, somebody came in here now, so I'll do it for the benefit of people who are listening in right now. Let me go over this again real quick. I do not recommend Google. Google may give you some good indications. I recommend going to Pinterest. So let's go ahead right now and let's go to Pinterest's homepage. Now, I get a lot of potential leads recommended to me from the very start. So I go to Pinterest because here's the thing. The reason why I'm saying this is because most of the photographs that are actually evidence of their membership in the occult are not labeled as such. There are some who have found some of them previously and labeled them, but a good majority, especially since this is happening constantly in real time, are not cataloged as such because the people who are reposting them in that, they don't see it. It goes right over their head. They actually think it's just an artistic pose being done for that. So we got Maddie. You go there and let's say let's search in and somebody give me a name of a celebrity to look up, and I'll do that for you right now. Just to show you how this works. So anybody, whoever the first is to sort of name someone to look up, we'll go ahead and do. Pamela Anderson. Okay. Somebody said Pamela Anderson. Okay, so we're searching here. So we're looking at this. Of course, there's nothing really. There's a lot of pictures of Pamela, which is good. But we're not really seeing any of the poses being thrown up. So just start clicking around on the images and then go beneath, and you're going to get more photographs of Pamela being served up to you. Now, this may or may not offer leads. It does somewhat. Here, this is something that I would put, in fact, I will right now, I'll put into the beta sex kitten programming. Because you see, just as Russ Dizdar was talking about, this sort of attraction to the kitten programming. They dress like cats all the time. So I'm not seeing anything still. So then I would, let's pick this portrait of her here. And then we look down below again, and you get all kinds of new ones being brought before you. And the next thing you know, I don't know whether we're going to find it here while we're just doing the demonstration or not, but eventually, 9 times out of 10, you just have to spend just a few minutes doing this, and you're going to find something. I mean, this isn't exactly, but it's kind of a clue. That's not one of the poses, but that's a clue as to what we're dealing with here. This is when she was with Tommy Lee. Now with her, if you're not finding anything, you could go... It never hurts to actually throw in like Illuminati if you're not finding anything in that method. But here you go. Here's one right here. So there she is with some one-eyed symbolism with her hubby or boyfriend at the time, Chris Angel. And the more you just start looking around, you're going to find the official portraits where she has to cover up her eyeball, or maybe she's sticking her tongue out with the devil horns. Here she is again with the leopard print, So basically that's what I do. Pinterest is actually an excellent resource. It's been extremely effective. And then sometimes too, you'll be looking down here and there's going to be some other celebrity that gets offered up where you're like, well, I wonder if I'll find anything there. And then you like, this isn't Pamela Anderson. So who's this? This is the lady from Blondie. And I've got photos in my archive of Blondie. So next thing you know, you just start hopping around, and before you know it, you're going to find, Blondie throwing up the symbols. Let's see, as a matter of fact, if we can test that to be... It's time consuming. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say, but to me it's fun. To me it is, because once you got it, once you have it, it's done. You can move on, And sometimes it's just fun to get a good collection of them, because honestly, the place that we're at in the world today, it makes me very angry. That for whatever reason, with it being so in your face all of this time, that we still seem to be struggling with the question anymore of, is it really happening? And so I'm hoping to help in the effort to make it very clear that it's extremely real, but also to hopefully inspire other people to carry on the work, because it's easy work. It's actually super easy to find this stuff. Because they constantly shove it in your face. So, but let's continue. So that's Rihanna. That's Rihanna and her team of witches in one of their videos throwing up the eyeball as a group. Interesting times, ladies and gentlemen. There's Rihanna. Now, there are no thumbs extended, so it's not I love you. And everybody wants to say this is sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Well, somebody came on to the comments the other day and wanted to know, have any of them ever been asked about what these things mean? And so we'll play for you.
Why is your hand over your eye?
Because I'm a devil worshiper. What are you talking about?
All right, well, I have tickets to see the devil worshiper.
And that's why people walk, and that's all that she answered. That's all she offered up as an answer. And because people don't want to believe this stuff, they don't want to believe that it's happening, it can't be real, they walk away, and because she kind of giggled and laughed, and the interview even kind of giggled and laughed, well, it just must be a joke. But meanwhile, she didn't answer the question. She did answer the question. She just did it in a way that gaslighted and went over the head of the audience. So here you go again. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Ancient One. Not easy to explain on YouTube as you are doing, but hopefully, maybe if you watch some of these too, like you'll understand a little better and be able to kind of explain it very similarly, because it's not so hard to understand, but at the same time you constantly learn. So like the video yesterday where I'm in the last couple of days asking about, hey guys, can you guys help me out as a community? And what's this rose stuff mean? We need to stop. Let's not pretend like we're authorities on all this stuff. We're learning as everyone else is in real time, kind of the situation that we find ourselves in. And so somebody came in the comments and pointed me in the direction of what the rose meant. And it actually, funnily enough, the occult relates to Horus once again. And so there it is. It got answered. So this is sort of a project that we're in. It's an open source exposing of darkness that we're engaging in. Right? There's no ascension. We're not going to evolve into any kind of age of peace. Like, we're just trying to get more and more people in for the harvest before it all goes down. The blind think they're ascending. That the moment, like, we get LGBTQI, MNOP, all the way to Z covered, that we're good. And we've completely shed ourselves of Christianity. But the truth is they're under a grave deception. Is that I love you? Or does that look like when she says this?
Eye is your hand over your eye.
Because I'm a devil worshiper. What are you talking about?
Or does that what does that look like to you? There's Rihanna. They're just hanging loose. That's the hanging loose. Trust me, it has nothing to do with the devil at all. You are not being gaslighted one bit. There she is with a rose. A rose over her eye. And just as we looked up earlier, watched the video earlier, it's right at the beginning if you want to know, if you came to this later, to know what that means. It's associated with Harpocrates, though. Who is Horus. It's about secret, keeping things secret. Rihanna, it's a classic demonic manifestation, and throwing up the devil horns. It feels like I'm going insane. Yeah, these are lyrics. It's a thief in the night to come and grab you. It can creep up inside you and consume you. A disease of the mind, it can control you. Sounds like a demoniac crying out for help. Anybody see the Eye of Horus on her chest? And then also leopard print, leopard and tiger print. Guys. These are mind control people. Rihanna, shh. And just like the other theme, too, this is a variation biting down on it, too. Because there's probably an association with pain. Because the altars in this satanic mind control programming, they assume the main personality can't handle the trauma, the torture that is coming your way. You can tell she's had her nose broken previously. But they cannot handle the trauma and pain coming their way. And so the personality splits, and the personality which is splitted is the one that takes on the pain. They are the ones that can withstand and withhold. They can put up with the torture. And the main personality oftentimes will have missing time. Maybe a pack of, sometimes even the alter personality will smoke a different pack of cigarettes than they do. Let's say they're a cigarette smoker, right? And they smoke a different kind. And so they'll find these other kinds of cigarettes in their jackets or something, and they'll be forever kind of confused as to why there's other people's cigarettes in their jacket all the time. And they'll have all kinds of other clues and the missing time. And sometimes even the alien abduction memories and experience, where there too there's this weird loss of time going on as well with it, where you see they don't quite know how long they were gone or what happened exactly. It's real sad, guys. It's really sad, and it's not even science fiction, guys. George Esterbrook, he was a Rhodes Scholar. He worked on behalf of the military to do this, and he's writing openly in his writings that they did it. And this is back in the 40s and 50s. That they split people's personality through what he calls hypnosis to create the perfect mole, essentially. Do you think they stopped? Do you think if the government was capable of doing that with all we know about how they and science itself just pushes the boundaries no matter what the morality is, that they stopped just because they told you they did? Or do you think they furthered and continued the research? Here's Rihanna again. And again, the evidence is, what's behind it? What is their goal? Look at your culture. We're becoming more and more self-absorbed and secularly satanic than we've ever been. We're the most satanic society today, and yet most people, if you ask them on the street, don't think they worship the devil, or for that matter, even believe in the devil. It's genius, actually. MC, thank you for holding down the room. Be a little more, just some advice. I never really give anybody direction. Like if you would, though, like people who are very, that come in, that have just a very anti-Christian or God-denying disposition, I would remove them. That would be me anymore. I use your discretion, but that's the end of things that I lean upon. Space Girl, you as well. You guys do a great job. I'm just sort of throwing that out there. Good to see you guys. Thank you both for doing what you do. Rihanna, Rihanna's she's been through it, man. I mean, she's one of their poster childs. I think love is one of the purest things you can sing about. What kind, though? Because I know that love under will, love is the law, love under will, according to Crowley. You guys talk about love. Eros love. Because as far as I know, you're not married, and you really never have been, and you just sort of go through men. So I'm not sure you really know what love is. Rihanna. Doing a little one-eyed action for you again. You guys tired? I'm bored of Rihanna with this, but clearly, here you go again with the snake theme. We've seen Marina Abramovic doing this previously. We've seen Alice Cooper, who is outwardly anyway marketed as Christian, but whose entire stage act and career belies that fact completely. And so you can really only, unless you have no eyes, no discernment, you can only walk away saying, well, I think you're a wolf. You're deceiving people. And what's the deception? It's like, you can listen to my music, you can enjoy the stage act of my head being decapitated and being French kissed by a man, while also calling yourself Christian. Rihanna again. Let's get through Rihanna here. Note the Egyptian eye makeup as usual. has a very hawkish look to it. Horus is often depicted as a falcon or a hawk. Here's Rihanna again. Nobody's fans go hard like Rihanna Navy. Also shows you just the outright narcissism. Can you imagine, like, wearing t-shirts of yourself? Or having your name tattooed on yourself? I never understood the tattoo your name on yourself one, because it's like, what are you gonna forget? Are you worried you're gonna forget who you are, or what's happening here? Why are you doing that? So here she is throwing up the witchcraft diamond, showing that she is an initiated witch. She can hold the coven meetings if she needs to. She can lead services. Probably photoshopped. In fact, as I'm looking more into it, it actually does look like something's been manipulated there. Very rare is it that you actually find a real manifestation. It happens. I've seen it in the flesh, but it's very seldom that you're actually going to have a camera on hand to capture these things. There she is as Medusa with and we just sort of sit back blindly when nobody's asking the question like, why am I constantly being bombarded with like horror and gruesome stuff? Is it really because we're so fascinated with it, or because a certain cult shoves it down our throats all the time? This is, ladies and gentlemen, this t-shirt that Rihanna is wearing says it all. You know, it's an inverted cross that says mind control on it. As you can see, we're having trouble getting out of the Rihanna section of the archive because it's just, I believe she's the one who started the whole. So remember, you've seen a lot of other people with the tattoo. They actually tattooed it onto themselves. You see it constantly. Okay, now we're out of Rihanna. We're out of the Rihanna land. Ringo Starr. I haven't seen him. I've seen a lot of the other Beatles throwing up. I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I'd find some one-eyed symbolism or covering up his eyeballs. Or maybe some 666s. But the peace sign is not something to just ignore. Because again, to you, to the so-called uninitiated, these symbols have dual meanings. Right on even down to the Christian cross that they've adopted. And so they know, like a Ringo Starr, for example, knows full well that members of the club know that he's one of them, right? And so they all get this like little duping delight from this, you know, because most of us truly think, most of my life I spent associating that with everything that we're hopefully working to become. And now I realize it's none other than the New Age deception itself. It's not actual true peace. And also I've learned that the devil in the end times is going to come under the auspices of bringing peace. And so it all comes together. Rita Ora, O-R-A. There's Rita again. Rita has had to do the Madonna dress-ups frequently in her career. She's actually, I believe she's had to pose for Terry Richardson, and it looks like she had to throw up the cues a lot during those photo shoots. In fact, we'll probably come across those here in a moment. There she is. She's a pop star, of course. There she is again. She's got like a little migraine headache. Might want to send her some Tylenol when you got some time. Here she is for Esquire. She's just doing a sexy wink and note, biting her finger. We've seen that many times already, and it's not just somebody biting their finger, but it's always in association with the symbolism being thrown up. There's Rita again. I'm sorry to go so deep, but these could potentially even be MK Ultra colors. Sorry. But these could be MK Ultra colors that are also being exhibited to trigger. Alright, that's not all I see. See, I have these different folders, so like the sex kitten programming for Rita and all that, they're in different folders. That's why some of the stuff that I'm saying is not coming up. River Phoenix, who died doing a speedball with epic, with deadly consequences, with humongous amounts of heroin and cocaine at Johnny Depp's Viper Club. By the way, a little trivia there. I don't know if anybody in the room knows this, but the original person who co-founded... well, let's go looking here. Just want to show you guys a little detail. That I learned. Johnny Depp co-founded, actually, the Viper Room, which is where River Phoenix died. Murder mystery. Was Johnny Depp involved in the disappearance of his business partner? And as we go down here, Anthony Fox vanished without a trace, coincidentally just before he was to testify against Depp in a bitter multi-million-dollar lawsuit. He has been a missing person ever since, and no one knows what happened to him. So, not saying one way or the other, I'm just thought I'd bring it to your attention. There's River Phoenix again. There's River again. Throwing up a little one eye. All of these, like, if what we suspect is absolutely true, minus vengeance is the Lord's, right? And so minus their repentance and all that, you really got to worry about it. We can't even wreak a just sentence for these things. Just leave it in God's hands. These people are mortal men and women. They're going to pass away at some point. We already know this is just the situation in our world today, and they'll have to suffer the consequences and reap what they sow. So I truly believe that as a Christian. You turn the other cheek. When you're sued, you give extra. You give double. You give more than what you've been sued for. And you also, when it comes to matters of vengeance, you do forgive, you do forget, and you don't tell other people menacingly that they're to expect you. Instead you say, well, because I know God's real, to such an extent. I'm not saying that there's no practical consequences in life. I'm simply saying, ultimately, you don't really have to worry about it. Because they're not going to be happy people when it comes time. Tick-tock, Satanists. Tick-tock, 90-plus Kenneth Anger. Tick-tock, bloated and aging Johnny Depp. That Lion of Judah is going to come for you. River Phoenix. We're still on River. Rob Kardashian, lest you thought it was just an issue for his sisters and his mother. And again, too, the more they try to, it's like whack-a-mole as well with the occult. So, like, they do this stuff with John Todd. They try to, like, whack everybody that might tell the truth. Like, they just expose themselves all the more, little but more and more and more and more. You can't keep it hidden. It's going to come out. Revelation's going to be fulfilled, and you're screwed at that point, Ain't going to be partying with Hank and Hendrix down in hell. It's just not happening. So enjoy it now. Even though none of you are enjoying it either. Every time I get a report from you Hollywood types, you're all friggin' miserable and talking about how depressed you are and how crappy your life is. And yet you got private islands, all the houses you need, all the money, all the sex, all the everything. And you're telling me you're miserable. And here I am with not too much at all, but I found the pearl of great price. And I'm content. I'm happy. I say this because I know they're going to watch some of this stuff. Some of them already have. They have to have. They don't come out and comment. But they're aware. Okay, oh yes, ID Magazine as usual. Robbie Snelders is their name. Here's some lust with the one-eyed symbol. Gee, I wonder if there's an association between the two. Robbie Williams. Yuck. Robbie Williams again. It's just calling them all to prayer. Reminds me of when Brian Head Welch and the other Tool member had a bunch of people coming together for prayer, and then they said, throw up your metal horns and let's pray together. This isn't religious. I really loved the time when Brian served communion with John Crowder of Token the Holy Spirit. That was a true exhibition of his born-again-ness. Got a little coat of arms here, too. Not sure. Maybe it's his family crest. These people are always just sad. So there you go. You see this? What does this say? Chakun a sun. What does that say? Does anybody know? If anybody knows in the chat, I don't want to go look this up right now. He's also got a pyramid on his wrist. This is Robbie Williams. He's a British pop star. I also want to ask you guys again, does he look there? Or does it look kind of vacant? Kind of like a vacant stare? Robert De Niro? Hey. I loved his movies. Not anymore. Robert Downey Jr. Because again, even though that's all I've found so far, it's enough with the rest. And it's also, it's kind of like Fritz says, like you can honestly just make a safe assumption that if they're up there in the limelight, they're a part of it. So, how many times does he have to do it here for you? Boy, there's probably some real significance to this bottom left one. Is that how you go to bed at night, Robert? Knowing that it's going to go off at any time? And that you made a really dumb decision? Probably. There he is again. There he is again, Robert Downey Jr. Shh, keep your mouth shut. Harpocrates. Robert Mapplethorpe. Robert Mapplethorpe. Do I have... I don't know how I have things divided sometimes in the archive. Well, that should be next anyway here. So, Robert Mapplethorpe, of course, he was a controversial photographer who photographed homosexual men naked and would call it art. And art exhibits would have him in and all this. There he is again, Robert Mapplethorpe. Anyway, he was... there's a guy named Jesse... What was his name? He's in the documentary about Son of Sam murders, David Berkowitz. It's a guy who they interviewed who's in prison now who was a hitman for the Process Church. And he was talking about how Robert Mapplethorpe wasn't an official member of the Process Church, but they used one another, and sometimes that Mapplethorpe wanted snuff films. So, anyway, there's that. Here's Robert Patterson, who played Dracula in real life and is also literally related, is a relative of Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula. Can't even make this stuff up. You can, but you can fact check me, and you're going to find in very mainstream sources at that he is, in fact, played Dracula and is a relative of Dracula. There you go. He's just punching himself in the eyeball with the cord around his neck. Does anybody want to know? Somehow I think they're just constantly... It's almost like the blindfold that they'll put on the Masons and bring them in and then threaten them with all kinds of horrific death if they divulge the secrets. I feel like that's partly what they're doing. So maybe there's no other reason why it would be around his neck like that other than, like, you snitch and we will, like, strangle you and murder you. I don't know. Just asking questions. I'm just commenting on things I see randomly. There he is. He's got some kind of... Looks like a wound, even, on his... Where he had that patch here a little bit ago. It's like he has a wound there right now. I'm sure that's just a Hollywood wound, but I don't know. I don't know anymore. The world has gotten so bizarre to where you're just not sure. This is Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, so it's not just Jimmy Page. Robert Plant is letting you know, yes, indeed, he is part of the club. Or at a minimum, taking an eye exam for the photographer. One of the two. Robert Smith of The Cure, not just giving you the one-eyed symbolism, but also offering you a little extra. Their symbolism will be their downfall. That is the truth. I've had some Satanists come on, like, laughing when people suggest that, like, no, it won't. You guys are all screwed. I'm telling you, man, things are coming to a head. If you've been asleep, you don't get it. You don't understand where we're at. When stuff starts to hit the fan, you're going to be at a loss and scrambling in real time to try to figure it out. Give yourself some time in advance. Come to Christ today. Start to figure out where we're at, and then it won't be such a surprise. You won't endure such trauma because you already saw this coming. You know. Roberto Bolle, Bolle, and if he's not mocking Jesus, you know, there you go. Who are you mocking? Christ rebuke you, devil. Robin Williams, whose daughter You know, everybody thinks he was a sacrifice, right? Here's Robin Williams' daughter. Just so you know. You should totally take your kids to Disney and let them watch their movies. Just so you know as well. But let me ask you a question about Zelda Williams, the daughter of Robin Williams here. And it's just an open-ended question. I'm not leading you in any one direction. But does she look dissociated to you or not? You'll also notice the anchor on his face that they graphically imposed. We've seen this on numerous of the victims, including Brandon Barthrop of Red Letter Ministries, who clearly has another spirit, a mocking one in him, trying to convince God's people that he has the Holy Spirit. There's Robin Williams again. He's just at the eye exam. Robin Williams again. So again, with when we look at him and then we look at Zelda, his daughter too, you start to get the picture. It's like there's something obviously diabolical is occurring here. It's obviously generational. But we see it it seems to be happening. Well, I think John Todd has some answers. Because according to John Todd, he says that it's once you're about 4, the community actually raises you. It's the coven that raises you as a child. And that's why it's very interesting that, like, Timothy Leary was Winona Ryder's godfather, and he's a witch. I mean, Timothy Leary was a total witch. And I think that's what it is. I think that's partly what it is. And it just kind of, again, it's like this disease. It's like AIDS that just it's going viral and transfers generationally. It's like a curse over their lines. And it's seldom that one is saved. And that makes those watching this right now, especially the Satanists, all the more bitter and hateful towards God. Well, you could turn away right now and not worry about it. Instead, you just harden your heart even more and are like, oh, what a horrible way to treat humans. Well, check yourself. Look in the mirror. About how much we treat humans well. Don't give me that. You're like pointing your finger and wagging your finger at God all the time. What are you doing? What do you expect? Robert Downey Jr. again. Robin, Robyn. And of course you have, I wouldn't always, if I just saw some woman walking down the street, I'm not going to say you got like pyramid earrings on, but in context, I am going to say like you have pyramid earrings on. Rodney Dangerfield remember who we looked at Red Fox earlier too. I guess they're all just A-okay. Everything's A-okay. It's all good. Everything's all right. What are we talking about? I don't even understand. What's okay, Rodney? What's A-okay? What are we doing here? What's the context? You realize it's a frozen image and there's no video associated with it. And so there is no context for us to understand what you're telling us is A-okay. What's A-okay? Mr. Bug-Eyed, who molested Mallory in Natural Born Killers, and it just so happens that this is how Mallory was looking back then. Oh, by the way, Mallory got her photo shoot time with Terry Richardson. Because it just may or may not be Duper's Delight. I'm not sure. Pink Floyd, anybody? You guys a fan of Pink Floyd? Dark Side of the Moon. Got the pyramid with the rainbow. This is Roger Waters, Pink Floyd. How are these people a part of it? They're losers. They're drug addicts. They're all this. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcement is this. The devil is real. Your world is a lie, and he's destroying your world. That's what this is. It's supernatural. I'm sorry to inform you. The world is not rational like you thought, as you've been trained to believe. The devil will use anyone he can use as a foot soldier, most especially your cultural icons. Roger Waters, Pink Floyd. Oh, he's telling you everything right there. See, we were looking at that photo all wrong, weren't we? The division bell. Now you look at it from a different perspective. It's not a profile picture. It's not a profile picture at all. You've been brainwashed and hoodwinked by the god of this age. And it's time to come out of your sleeping stupor and say, well, Jesus is my Savior, and I'm gonna be saved. Ah, yes, we looked at this yesterday, though. Ha ha ha. Oh, wait. Keith, is that a skull ring? It is, you necromancer, you. Here. Ronnie Reagan. Everything's just A-okay. Just like your reality TV star that's now president. I was a Hollywood actor for many years. You can trust me because I have wholesome values and I'm a great man. Iran-Contra, I'm running away now. I was told that Ronnie Del Rio today. Ronnie Del Rio, he's not part of it. He's not. He's explained the devil horns to us many times. Case closed. The devil tells the truth. I swear, man, people, get just an ounce of discernment. Please, just an ounce. I know Paul was understanding. We all should be understanding of the naivete of Christians. That because of your innocence in Christ, you're going to allow wolves into the fold. But come on, man. How much work are you going to make the watchman go through? We need you on the battle lines, not checked out watching Barney. Ronnie Del Rio again. Ronnie Del Rio. But it's not the devil horns, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all. By the way, he does have a 5-pointed pentagram in a circle on his shirt, too. But he's not a part of the occult. It actually is just, he coined it. It's just sex, drugs, and rock and roll, which is satanic as well, just so you know. Even if you say it like that. From a purely Christian worldview, if you say it's just sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you're an abomination. Roque Santa Cruz, I don't know who that is. Let's go find out. Okay, so he's a footballer from Paraguay. There you go. He joined. He's He's a talent. He can kick a ball, and if you need him in a pinch, he can perform a ritual for you at the altar. You know, maybe he can even make the clay baby that they insert into people. Not sure. Oh, here is. If you want, do you want to know if it's generational or not, people? This is Rosario Dawson and her brother at a nightclub showing the tongue demonic manifestation, each showing their one eye and doing the devil horns. I wonder what happened to them. Gosh, it's such a mystery. What happened to them growing up? It's just a mystery. Nobody knows. What is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows, Dave. Nobody knows. We're all just stupid. We can't put it together anymore because we just, you know, because there's not like forces of darkness blanketing over this, making it extremely difficult to expose because people, frankly, it's so easy to expose, but the reason why it doesn't catch on like wildfire is because people are in absolute denial about it because they themselves have spirits. Rosario Dawson as well. There you go. There she is again. So if you think she's, well, the liberals who might be watching this video today, you're just watching for comedy at this point. You know, you're just laughing and probably smoking your bong. Maybe you're going to look at some porn a little bit later. But, you know, you actually think this is some kind of social warrior for causes that you believe in. Meanwhile, you know, it just reminds me of Laurel Canyon, which we keep talking about. Read Dave McGowan's works. Please, folks. If you guys really want to start to open up your eyes, read the books from Dave McGowan, read Programmed to Kill, start watching interviews with him here on YouTube, read Weird Scenes from the Canyon, read Russ Disdar's The Black Awakening, read the works by Fritz Springmeier, read the Bible, first and foremost. Here's Rosario Dawson again. Rose McGowan, who led the Me Too movement. So there's Rose McGowan. I believe, am I correct? Did Rose McGowan date Marilyn Manson? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. But they're good chums. Here's Asia Argento, Anthony Bourdain's girlfriend, who we already went over the other day. So if you want to know who all these people are, if you want to see how extensive it is, watch the whole series. It's going to take you, if you really want to get wacky with it, a day and a half of no sleep to watch them all. Or just kind of digest it in a good week or so, couple weeks when you got time. And then you come and tell me that we're just imagining it. Then you come back and you update me about how we're just exaggerating the situation and connecting things that aren't there. Okay, somebody in the room said, Sally said yes, she did date Marilyn Manson. So Rose McGowan, Me Too movement, throws up the symbols, was dating Satanist Marilyn Monroe. There's Marilyn Manson. And there she is with Harvey. There she is as a youngin'. Probably breaking out on the scene then. She's like, yes. My coven helped me so much. If they all got up for their awards, they'd be honest. Like, I'd like to thank, Coven Pinecombe, District 49, for helping me ritually sacrifice my first My first loved one. That's a joke. That is a joke, everyone. Kinda. Here is, this is from that Rothschild in the 1970s Illuminati party. This is another one. That's, just in case if you didn't know, RuPaul, the one of the original transgenders who's very supportive of Desmond, the amazing you know, this young man right here, Desmond the Amazing. You know, same young man.
Can do drag. Nibba.
But I'm getting hate comments. Does this mean I'm famous now?
Is close. 1, 2, 3, 4 G's. What has this world come to? It's come to drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
How old is your BF? Hello, Eve. What has this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
This world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
How old is...
You still with me? Are we all still here? Everybody still here? Oh, good. Come on back. Get back with me. Watch the 30-hour series, and tell me I haven't done enough to show you. Appreciate that. Ruby James, one-eye monarch symbolism. Let me ask you another question too. She just looks on some. Let me just put it another way. Does she look all there? Let's ask that. Ruby Rose. There you go. Who is kind of being used to kind of, you know, she's sort of promoted. She's sort of this attractive woman, but also like she would be an attractive man too. It's a weird, you don't know quite what you're looking at. And it's, I believe, kind of intentional, that it's being promoted as such, because you're not really sure sometimes what you're looking at. But there's Ruby. There's Ruby Rose again. What is going on? What is up, man? Are you starting to put together? Like, they all have, like, sleeve after sleeve of tattoos. These are the literal exact people you would expect to be at the Thelemite convention. And they just all happen to be, like, your Hollywood celebrities. There you go. There's Ruby again. MTV. Masonic TV, which we've already gone over. We've already gone over that, right? I'm sorry, this is a better one. MTV. 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 Uh-oh. Give me a moment. I gotta retrieve where we were. We're making some good progress, though. So we were here. There she is again. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Do you remember what we said the other night, by the way? The other day? I've been trying to point out to you too, keys are used as symbols in MKUltra programming. You'll notice that a lot of the people who may or may not have gone through it, who appear to possibly have been victims, that a lot of times they'll have a lot of tattoos with keys. When they're throwing up the symbolism too, they'll have a shirt with a key on it, or a key around their necklace, or something to that end. And as far as I know, according to my own, what I can ascertain, is that apparently within their language, Alice is the slave and the white rabbit is the handler. And so be very careful. That's why I actually took off the hashtag follow the white rabbit that QAnon's been throwing up constantly, because actually it's a trigger and cue for mind control slaves to kind of be drawn there. Kind of like follow the yellow brick road, which is another, which as Springmeyer says, means follow your programming. That's Ruby Rose again. Rose. Ruby Rose. Starting to understand anymore now lately, folks. Ruby Rose. Which, of course, is a symbol for secrecy within the occult. It is actually a symbol associated with the child Horus in the form of Harpocrates, which is exactly what she's doing right here. Harpocrates. And here. Harry Potter. You can't find too much, right? Of good old Rupert Grint. I struggled. But there you go. I found a little gem for you. Remind you of Kesha's outfit at all that we were looking at the other day? Sure does. Let me ask you this. Have you ever bought, would you ever even consider buying? I certainly wouldn't. I'm just keeping it real. No. Like that would not be a, no. Nope. Not even if it was on the clearance rack for like $1. And that's if I didn't even know what I know. If I didn't know what I know and I saw it on the clearance rack, I'd be like, nope, that's weird. Not my thing. Not fashionable. At all. Rush Limbaugh. I got invited to the Bohemian Grove. Where do you find these people? I guarantee you, sir, I would not have been invited if there's anything like your thinking is happening there. Rush, who we've already seen Lifeson earlier, throwing up the 666 over his eyeball, but here you go with the bunny rabbit symbolism. The magic top hat. Top hat's Masonic, just so you know. They wear the Masonic top hat. The bunny rabbits and the top hat have always been associated with magic. Magic, M-A-G-I-C. Because it's not real. It's stagecraft, right? I wonder why they did that. I wonder if the occult likes to rub it in your face all the time or not. It's hard to know. Russell Brand, who for a short time married Katy Perry, dressing up as a pope and throwing up the devil horns for you. Who, according to women across many lines, they think he's all that in a bag of chips, and it just has always made me go scratching my head. Here he is, as a matter of fact, with Keith Hudson. If you don't know who Keith Hudson is, this is the born-again Christian pastor, Katy Perry's father. So, Russell Crowe, throwing up a little one-eyed symbolism for you. There's Rusty Nelson. Rusty Nelson's the guy who testified on behalf of Paul Bonacci in the Franklin cover-up, and also claimed that Hunter Thompson tried to hire him to do a snuff film for $100,000. Back in the Disney days, this is Ryan Gosling on the left and Justin Timberlake, both of whom... Here's Ryan Gosling in the movie promo for Blade Runner. And here's Ryan again. Potentially, I'm just going to throw out there, just kind of showing signs and symptoms of the programming. This is someone named Ryan Murphy. Is that a Blade Runner promo as well? I can't tell. I'm not sure where that comes from, but Ryan Murphy, if you know who that is. Somebody's saying looking too gay, both of them. Like, they're just kids here. These are just two, like, little boys. There's nothing gay about them in this photograph. They're just two young boys. Can we, like, all grow up in this? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be too harsh on you, but just kind of keep your... You guys throw this stuff out there all the time. Like, Miley's clearly a boy, a man, you know? All these people, like, where is your sensitivity at all? Like, if you have any doubt, what are you doing? With this stuff, I don't have any doubt, because I'm bringing it for you. But you just throw this stuff out there without any... Ryan Sheckler just wants to look at you through his skateboard. What I'm trying to do here, folks, and I don't know if there's a failure to compute or not, is to help you recognize that what we're looking at are generations of victims. It's not accuser of the brethren hour. It really isn't. As much as it seems as though it is. Do I believe there's a trans apocalypse? Trans investigation? No, I don't. I know that some of them are. Yes. Some have not even outwardly spoken about it, and you can tell. But all of them? No. Are they clones? No. They're human beings, people who were shattered and traumatized because satanic ritual abuse is real, and because generation after generation this gets perpetuated, and everybody's turning a blind eye. That's what's up. They're not a clone. They're not a robot. They're not a non-human. Off my soapbox. Ryan Reynolds. Well, on that, I agree with this too. There's no Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year and hasn't even been a woman for a year. LOL. I agree. I'm not saying that there's not an agenda. I'm simply saying number one, I don't know what's going on in terms of in the so-called truth community. Like, it seems like there's a lot of people who see a lot, but they fail to comprehend the real implication here, which keeps me scratching my head sometimes of what we're really talking about. And I keep on asking too, like, where is your sensitivity? Where is your sense of compassion and love for these people? That could have been you. You could have been 5-year-old Justin Timberlake. Or 8-year-old Ryan Gosling. For all I know, it may be you. Not literally, but the scary thing about all this is, like, there are people, I know this much, there are people that come in to the comment sections that are here on YouTube, of course, they're in the world, who themselves have been through this. And they don't even know why. I still remember well, I'm not going to go into that story right now. This is Wu-Tang Clan member RZA. See, that's another one. If I could give a recommendation to the admins, if you guys are in the room still too, and these are just I know everybody's got their own style in this. I've never given you guys any kind of direction on things. But it would be my hope that when people come in, calling everybody, every single one of them a tranny, every single one of them a woman who's a boy or a boy who's a man, to help them rein that in, and if they don't rein it in, to remove them. They may believe that. I'm not here to, but I really don't want your contributions in the chat personally. And you may find that to be extreme or totalitarian, but I actually believe that that kind of stuff is exactly the ammo they're trying to give YouTube when they might come and review something, a reasoning and a rationale for removing them. It had nothing to do with what you said, but the tone and sentiment that it seems as though your channel seems to be encouraging. And so that, because you're not finding it. You guys are coming in here and saying that, like, I don't talk about that stuff on my channel. I don't talk about it. I don't know why you're here. I really don't. And I'm not saying that in some cases you may be incorrect. You may be